Welcome to the Value Meta, where we build decks you can play and pioneer with a brand new arena account. So, this is a bit of a crazy brew. This is a Bring to Light Scapeshift list, and to give you a bit of background, I've been getting into a bit of CDH, and I've been playing the Wandering Minstrel Lurrus as a kind of a Scapeshift lands package, and I suddenly realized most of what I was trying to pull off in that deck is in Pioneer. So, started brewing, ended with like 15 versions of this deck. This is a version I'm currently testing and playing around with. But what does this deck do? Well, here's the deal. If we can get an effect that does not let our lands enter tapped, 5 lands and a Bring to Light, we can win the game. Now, before we go any further, I'm just going to stretch this. Fire Magic, Join Expedition, Azusa's Many Journeys, and Growth Spiral, those are fillers. Those are just random stuff I've thrown in the deck, just kind of stabilize, ramp. Basically, we've got to get to 5 lands to win the game. Now, how do we actually do that? Well, first things first, we're built around the idea of having either the Wandering Minstrel or Spelunking out. The key thing of both of these is a lot of text, but both of them just have the ability to mean that our lands enter untapped. So if any effect would say a desert entering tapped, it will enter untapped. That's really crucial for the deck. So first, if we have one of these out and we have 8 effects of them in Pioneer and 5 lands and a Bring to Light, we can win the game. So step by step here in the description, then I'll show you a video example with Sparky. So if we have Bring to Light and 5 lands, in this example we have 4 basics in the desert, we have 4 different colors we can produce there. We will cast Bring to Light for 4 mana, for 4 colors, grabbing Scapeshift. We sack these 5 lands and we will get into play untapped because of the Wandering Minstrel or Spelunking. We'll get our winning lands. We will get Mystic Sanctuary, a Desert, Cryptic Caves, and Lotus Field. Now there's a lot of ETBs here that happen. Here's the core thing that will happen going forward. Using Mystical Sanctuary's ability that will enter untapped, we can put a spell back on top of our deck. So we will put the Bring to Light back on top of the deck. And then we can sacrifice the Cryptid Cave after we float all our mana. We float all our mana, making sure that we can produce 4 colors. We sack the Cryptid Caves because at this point, before the Lotus Field sacks, we have 5 lands. That will let us draw Bring to Light. With all the floated mana we have from the Lotus Fields, we make sure we got 4 different colors. We will cast the Bring to Light. This time we will grab Splendid Reclamation. That will then return all the lands we have sacrificed, reducing us to having all of these lands. Now it's great that we get back the basics in the other desert, but the core thing is we just bring back the original 5 lands because we sack the cave to its own ability to draw a card, and Lotus Fields will mean that we have to sack the Mystic Sanctuary, the desert, and the 2 Lotus Fields, so we're down to 0 lands at that point. What then happens is the same loop again. We can then Mystic Sanctuary, put Splendid Reclamation back on top of the deck, sacrifice the Cryptid Caves to draw the Splendid Reclamation, float all our mana, and then Lotus Fields will sacrifice. We sacrifice a Lotus Field, the Mystic Sanctuary, a Lotus Field, and the Desert. Bearing in mind, in this loop, each time the Desert comes back, it does 1 damage to the opponent. So what happens in that case is we have now a Splendid Reclamation in hand, floating 6 or 7 mana, and we have in our graveyard 2 Lotus Fields, a Cryptolic Cave, Mystic Sanctuary, and a Desert. So we can now produce a loop of doing 1 damage each loop, generating infinite mana, and so on and so forth. That's how you win the game. Now I'm going to move to a physical example here with the Sparky. Okay, so with the Sparky demo here, we have a Wandering Minstrel. We have 4 colors. We're going to Bring to Light, grab a Scapeshift. You have to ignore we have an additional Sanctuary here, but that won't matter. We sack our 5 lands. Now we grab a Desert, a Cryptid Caves, 2 Lotus Fields, and a Mystical Sanctuary. As I said previous to this, the stack goes on like this, so we put Bring to Light back on top of the deck. Then before, we float our mana, ensuring that we have 4 different colors. Use the Cryptid Caves here to draw a card. That gives us a Bring to Light. Now we have to do the Lotus Field, so we have to sack all our lands. Bring to Light here, grabbing a Splendid Reclamation, which will then return all our lands. We put Splendid Reclamation with the Mystic Sanctuary trigger back on top of our deck. We have an additional one here because this was a test. Then we use the Cryptid Caves to draw back Splendid Reclamation, float all our mana, sack a Lotus Field and a Desert, sack a Lotus Field and the Mystic Sanctuary, cast the Reclamation. Now we have attained the loop. So each loop now we are going to put the Splendid Reclamation back on top, use the caves to draw a card, float all our mana, sack a Lotus Field and a Desert, Lotus Field and a Sanctuary, and this is a loop now that is making us infinite mana and infinite damage. Now this is pain in the butt on Arena because of its insistence on killing anything that's even close to a combo if your opponent doesn't automatically concede. But as you can see here, we're up on mana, we're up on everything, and we're gaining a ton of additional first match here with the Scapeshift deck. This was a version where we were running First Year Student for his Rampant Growth ability and Strangle. As I said before, if you have the core combo with the deck, please build around it. I think there's a really solid deck that could be built around it, but I don't inherently know what it is. So here we'll start with a Desert. Opponent is also on a slower land-based deck, so there's a Bring to Light, so if we can just get going, we'll be good. Alright, Phyrexian Missionary. We're going to use Spelunking here, see if we can draw a card. We don't put the Mystic Sanctuary into play. If we draw one more land here, no, we need one more color, so it's a bit awkward. That's the one thing this deck could definitely probably do some bit. Yeah, you know what? Let's get a black or a white here. Probably a black. Play a mountain, strangle the Phyrexian to hold off on life. Play the land, Rampant Growth again. Just make sure that we got as many lands as possible here. Alright. Opponent goes up to 4. Ravenous Chupacabra kills one of our students. Alright, here we go. So, with the current mana, let's float everything. Bring to light here 4 colors. Grab the Scapeshift. The bonus of this is if you have additional lands because you've ramped a bit more, use the Scapeshift to get extra deserts just to keep the thing down, or an additional Lotus Field if you can afford it. As long as you have, like I said, the caves and other things, it'll go from there. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes, fully respect it. Second match here with the Scapeshift deck. This one is also the same version with Studious First Year. Right, we'll get rid of Studious First Year, but this one we put in Growth Spirals, thinking it might speed up the clock. So there's an Eroded Canyon, put them down land. There's Simic. Let's get the Wandering Minstrel down here. I want to see if our opponent is up to anything. Okay, they're big mana ramp. Well, let's get a Spelunking down. Oh, there's another Spelunking. So we are a flush for untapped abilities here. The benefit is if they have... Okay. They are ramping a lot. Probably moving towards a big spell finisher. Size... Is this Tima Lessons? Oh, there's an Iroh. Oh, we top deck a Bring to Light. That's perfect. So we can now extinguish the combo. So 5 lands, Scapeshift. Now we have the perfect example here. So Cryptid Caves, Desert, 2 Lotus Fields, and the Mystical Sanctuary. Now Mystic Sanctuary, put Bring to Light back on top of the deck. Float the mana, making sure that we have 4 different colors. Crack the cave to draw the Bring to Light. Sack all of our lands here. Use the Bring to Light. Splendid Reclamation. Get back all of our lands. Put Splendid Reclamation back on top. And now we have the full combo here. So, crack the cave to draw the card. Float everything. Now, I don't know what was going on here. You'll see me doing this manually. The double Q wasn't working for this instance. So I just start sacrificing lands here. I'm going to burn a few of my other spells so I don't have to do anything else. Again, now we have damage and a loop. And this is where I'm going to go on a little bit of a tirade here. I've demonstrated this is a combo here. This is me checking that the float all double tap isn't working, and I don't understand why. So we're just going to float as much mana as we can. See if that triggers anything. Sack and sack. Sack and sack. Now here's the thing. We've now demonstrated this loop. This is now a kill. Our opponent is just going to let us do it, which I respect. However, there is a point here. I've said this before. Because of Arena's soft handling of players, it really hates combo decks to the point where it will not let you do a combo. Now, I understand if someone's just constantly looping something, they don't want to hold a player hostage for 25 turns. However, their life total is changing. I am physically killing them right now. So can someone explain to me why the client still insists on just force ending my turn? Genuinely, what the hell is the purpose of this? Like, why does this come up? If you don't want this to happen, Arena, in best of one, then put a more stringent timer on it. Don't punish players for actually playing combos if the other player is going to be an absolute swear word and not concede. I've said many times here that I personally really despise the way that Arena forces combo players to, like, get rid of it. Like, I genuinely think that that is why Standard and other things are having such a horrendous time with, in many formats. We're just seeing them struggle with, not struggle with, sorry, but we're seeing a lot more prevalence in less combo decks because, you know, what the hell? Yeah, this is me getting mad at them, so I'm just spamming your go, your go, your go. And the reason I'm doing this is them not conceding from seeing a combo and forcing me to have to play on is really teeing me off. The fact that they just basically let this keep going. So I'm just going to start comboing again here. Yeah, so DDKK, I got mad at this because I was like, we weren't in ranked, we were in casual because I'm testing this deck out. I've demonstrated the loop, and the fact that you immediately took your turn indicates that you're still there. You're just hoping that Arena will hold your hand and give you a precious little, oh, the combo player had to be forced to stop so you could have a little moment. Yeah, I get mad at Arena's treatment of combo players. So I got a bit mad here. So I went for a full Scapeshift here with the floating extra mana. Sacked all my lands and grabbed a ton of deserts just to finish them off. Put all of them into play. Went into full control and manually one by one assigned all this damage and clicked through it. Because if you want to be a swear word, I go, oops, nice. And then good game. And before the last damage, I'm just going to do the Wandering Minstrel and activate its ability again. Then go and ask them lands, am I right? Oh, sorry, no. The, do you see the line? Dang. Match here with Scapeshift again. I'm stressing this is not the finalized version. This is a version using Azusa's many travels here, and we get an Azusa. We don't have blue, but we do have Spelunking and a Bring to Light here. Opponent is on solid black, it looks like. So let's Spelunking, put the blue into play, pass back. Opponent appears to be on big mana, so I think that if we can I do this? Yeah, so this is a bit more awkward. Play Lotus Field, float red and colorless, sack those lands. Now we Bring to Light, for 4, grabbing Splendid Reclamation, gets those lands back. It's a bit awkward here, because what we're going to have to do is, there's a Fatal Push, killing the Azusa. They swing in. Invoke Despair. Okay. Bit more awkward here. Let's play the Wandering Minstrel. And then let's Scapeshift, because we can win from here, because we had a ton of mana with the Lotus Field. Desert, Crypt to the Caves, 2 Lotus Fields, and a Mystical Sanctuary. So, with this on the battlefield, we put Splendid Reclamation, since we've already got that in the graveyard, on top of the deck. We draw a card. We float our mana. We untap our mana, because apparently Arena... The fact that I have 6 green cards in... Well, 4 green cards in hand means that we... Yeah, whatever. Alright. Then we start looping. Splendid Reclamation. Put that back on top of the deck. Cryptic Caves to draw it. Float all our mana, sack Lotus Field and the Mystic Sanctuary, Lotus Field in the desert, and we have an additional Lotus Field, so we'll sack additional stuff. We'll just do this for now, see if we can get more lands on the battlefield. We do. So now we have enough deserts to do 3 damage each loop, 2 damage each loop, sorry. Put Splendid Reclamation back on top. Opponent sees the combo and concedes and pass the etiquette check.